Alita Battle Angel. Recently saw this movie, and it was terrible. No, just... I mean, it was okay. Obviously, I mean, well, I don't know anything about this movie beforehand. I do remember when it was in the theaters, but I never really heard. I mean, like none of my friends or family saw it, and then in addition to that, I never really came across a good review of it, or any review really. So yeah, I don't know if it's a completely made up story, character, or if it's based on something else. I wouldn't be surprised if it's based on say some comic book or anime or manga thing. Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's what the entire movie reminded me of, some kind of Japanese anime or something like that. It's pretty much, the main character, Alita, and I guess she's supposed to be some kind of android or cyborg, or I don't know what exactly. But definitely not human, or I don't even know if some small part of her actually is human, or as far as I know, she's just artificial intelligence type of thing, or at the very least just super insanely smart robot. I mean, at the very least. Of course, there's a lot of action in it. Action scenes are pretty great. CGI stuff is awesome. And I guess the characters, also performances throughout were, okay. I guess I'd say pretty decent. Nothing jaw-dropping or awe-inspiring, but all right, decent. It wasn't until towards the latter half of the movie that I got a little more into the story. Because essentially, it takes place in the year 25-something. And I forget exactly which city it takes place in, but there's this other city, this huge floating city, and I think it's supposed to be the last or one of the last floating cities. Yeah, supposedly, I don't know, the floating city at one point was, I guess at one point, they mentioned in the movie that there used to be a lot more floating cities, and the residents of these floating cities were primarily from Mars, or possibly other planets, I don't know. And one thing I do know, there's something called, which they referred to as URM, URM, and I want to say, I believe it stood for something like United Republics of Mars, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly, but I think United Republics of Mars. So something to do with, when, I guess, I don't know, actual Martians left Mars and then began kind of colonizing Earth. But, but they didn't colonize the land per se, but rather the airspace. I don't know. And there was a lot of interesting stuff to the story, but also a lot of stuff that went unanswered, and so that's why, for the most part, I had a little trouble following along, and all I really knew was that it's this Alita, this android thing, or sentient robot thing, and And yeah, she kicks a lot of ass, and because supposedly it turns out that she originally was some kind of warrior or something, built by built by the United Republics of Mars or whatever. And so yeah, I mean, if I didn't know any better, I mean, like, if it's not based on some kind of anime thing or manga thing or comic book, or I would say, like, it would seem like the bulk of this movie was created just to show off the cool CGI stuff, and which really I have no problem with. I mean, anytime a movie has awesome CGI and they do it, you know, in the right way, I guess, or like they don't, you know, as long as it doesn't come off as too cheesy or too forced, then yeah, I'm all for awesome CGI stuff. And like I said, really the latter half of the movie is where I got more into it, and also too, especially the end. I mean, of course, it has a cliffhanger ending, and I mean, I feel it's maybe not like a huge cliffhanger, but still a cliffhanger nonetheless. And yeah, it's like, I don't know if there's going to be a sequel or not, or I would say if there's a sequel, I would definitely I'd probably be a lot more into the sequel. Because I mean, this one, it's like, you know, kind of like an introductory thing, and because I mean, you know, otherwise, like I said, if it's not based on anything, and it's just a completely original storyline just for the movie, then yeah, it would make sense that this movie, the first one, is more of a introductory kind of thing. And yeah. Also, I in a way, like, the only other, I mean, I was trying to think about, like, what other movies it reminds me of. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of other movies out there about, you know, robots that become self-aware, or, you know, puppets or whatnot. And I mean, one movie that I thought of right away was Pinocchio, and because, you know, Pinocchio, he was created by Geppetto for really just one particular reason, to entertain children, I guess. And, you know, he ends up becoming self-aware, and then, you know, he wants to become a real boy, this and that. And I'm not saying that that's what Alita goes through exactly, but I mean, because she was created for something else, for, you know, she was created just to be like a warrior of some kind, and she ends up realizing that she can do more with her life, artificial life, or otherwise, or and yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought. So overall, I guess as far as rating goes, I'll give it I think I'd give it 7.5 for the bare minimum, 8 at the most. Yeah, I mean, you know, why not? I say 8, just purely just for, you know, the story was okay, it was decent, even though I had trouble following along during certain parts, and then, but mostly because of the awesome CGI. So I would say, yeah, if they didn't have that at all, or really, like, if they took away like 50-60% of the CGI from this movie, then really I wouldn't. I mean, I'd be giving it a much lower rating. And And not only that, but I probably would have never bothered. Probably wouldn't have bothered watching it to begin with. So, but because of that, because it does have awesome CGI stuff and a decent storyline, therefore I say, yeah, why not 8 out of 10? So that's it. Does it for this movie review. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.